Hey guys, I usually introduce myself as Mark Shawson, the pattern trader, but maybe I should change my name to Mr. Pound versus New Zealand Dollar. Because basically, since late 2016, early 2017, when I called the bottom in this pair, I have been saying by and large that this pair is in a stealth bull market. And a couple of weeks ago, when it looked like there was heightened Brexit concerns, heightened pandemic concerns, heightened concerns in the UK for outbreaks of COVID, and the British pound was plummeting versus the New Zealand dollar. I said that it would likely grab a foothold at the 190 price level, and that would prove to be, the ultimate support level. And now we look back just a few weeks, and since it hit 190, it's 700 pips higher at almost 197. And so this has been in a stealth bull market, and I use all of these selling opportunities, all of these panic opportunities to help myself to a handful of pound versus New Zealand on the long side. In a minute, I'm going to go to the real-time charts. I'm going to be showing you what I've been observing, what I've been looking at, what I've been advising our members to do for the last couple of weeks as a way to get hold of this pound New Zealand dollar, because I think it's going to go on a tear. Like I said, it bottomed at 190. We're at 197. Yes, we're 700 pips higher. But the way this is moving, I think that we're going to go considerably higher, possibly very quickly. So with that said, I'm going to go to the real-time charts and show you what I have been looking at. So before I go to the real-time charts of the British pound versus New Zealand dollar trading pair, I just want to direct your attention to a couple of emails that I sent our members over the last couple of weeks. This email went out Sunday, October 4th. And again, I was looking at the trading pair pound versus New Zealand dollar. And in the Sunday session before the market opened, I suggested to our members that they buy it at the market anywhere that the opening price was in the Sunday session. I ended up buying it at 194.69, a hair below where it was trading on the Friday session, with a stop loss well below 300 pips away and a take profit about 600 pips higher or 700 pips higher. Because that's where I see pound versus New Zealand dollar going home. And frankly, I anticipate that I will even move this take profit as I see if the pair starts moving in my favor. So in my email, I said we could be looking at a major buying opportunity in pound versus New Zealand dollar. Based on my analysis of the weekly and daily charts, I think the double bottom at the 190 low, which is in this area, and I'll go to the real-time charts in a minute, will hold. This means over time my expectations are that pound New Zealand dollar will head higher. Now this is when the pound New Zealand dollar was trading a hair under 195, and you'll see today it's around 197. So I said I would get long near or at current levels, on and on. In a follow-up email just 2 days after I bought the pound versus New Zealand dollar at 194.69, I sent another email to our members on the 7th of October, again referencing the pound versus New Zealand dollar, and recommended that they add to their position on a buy stop at 196.59. Again, you can see the stop loss was some 200 pips lower, and the take profit was 700 pips higher. And in my analysis, I said a few weeks ago, I said we could be looking at a major buying opportunity in pound versus New Zealand dollar. I believe my early premonition of a big upside move in pound versus New Zealand dollar seems to be increasingly corroborated by the recent robust, albeit volatile, price action to the upside. For that reason, I'm currently looking to add to my long position at 194.69. I said it appears that pound New Zealand dollar has formed an even atom double bottom. I'll discuss that on the real-time charts in just a minute. And then it's also formed a V bottom at current levels. And so I recommended buying the pound versus New Zealand dollar on a thrust above, this high, and we actually did get triggered. So now I have a couple of positions long pound versus New Zealand dollar. So now I'm going to look at the pound versus New Zealand dollar on a couple of different time frames and show you why it's so important to understand the cards you're holding, understand what's behind these big moves. Because clearly, if you look at the movements of pound versus New Zealand dollar, you'll see that it doesn't really look like anything. You could make the case for this thing going up, down, sideways, but I have steadfastly been on the bull side for quite some time because of what I call a governing price pattern. All the way back in late 2016 and early 2017, when we put on this double bottom price pattern. Double bottom is exactly what it sounds like. Market makes a new low, bounces off the low, retests the low, and then when we come through the neckline, which is simply the line drawn through the pattern, it confirms that this bottom has been put in. And with the word bottom, it means that inexorably, inevitably, this is going to be a market that keeps going higher. And in effect, that's what has happened in fits and starts. Now, we also put on a rounding bottom, which shared the same neckline. And so what was overhead resistance at that point now became new support at the 180 level. And then you can see along the way, we formed a double bottom here. And then at the 190 level recently, this is where I said this was probably a buy of a lifetime. All the way when, the prices were trading down here, 190, I was telling our members this is going to be a buy of a lifetime. And you can see we've got these two little pokes right here forming this bottom and then this single. So it's an Adam and Eve double bottom. I'll explain that more on the daily chart. Now, by understanding the ramifications of the price action on the weekly chart, it really helped me put things in perspective in the daily chart because, again, it looked like there were some very scary crashes going on in pound versus New Zealand dollar. But referencing the weekly chart, I knew that these crashes represented a major opportunity, a major buying opportunity. So we can see that pound versus New Zealand dollar has formed this Adam and Eve double bottom. And what an Adam and Eve, so this is an Eve where you have a couple pokes at one low, and then an Adam is where you have a single poke at a low. But whatever you want to call it, it is a double bottom at this 190 level. I was telling our members that I thought that this would hold, and you can see that recently we formed this V bottom. And based on that, I advised our members last night to buy on a new high at 196.59. You can see it's trading at 196.74. And so I've got several hundred pips on my initial position, and I've got a few pips on the second, and I have huge expectations for pound versus New Zealand dollar. But this pair should come with a risk warning, a cautionary warning, and I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. This is a chart of the pound versus New Zealand dollar on a 15-minute time frame. And this is why I highly advise that you don't trade on short-term time frames, because you can't understand what's going on. This is just a lottery. It's a gamble. As you can see, in any 15-minute period, this market can go up, down, sideways, and it sure has. You can see in this period it went up 200 pips, went down 200 pips, 100, up 100 pips, down 300, up another 200, back down a couple hundred. And you can see that if you're trying to time this on a short-term time frame, that A, your mind is going to get worn out, and B, you're never going to be there for the big move. And this is why I put such wide stops. You can see that it's impossible to put a 15 pip stop, a 37 pip stop, even a 57 pip stop. You can see that, these intra moves, this dropped 160 pips, back up, dropped again, went up a monster 300 pips almost. And then last night I thought I had this thing by the tail, and then when I woke up this morning it was all the way back to where it began. And so this is why I keep wide stops and focus on the long ball. So when this is trading above 201, I will be there. Trading on a 15-minute or a short-term time frame, there's no way you will be there at the end. You will have wiped yourself out. You will have burned your mind out. And this is why I look at the longer term time frames to understand what's going on, and then get positioned, put a wide stop, and then let the market work for me. So now I just want to round this off, finish this off by showing what these trades look like on my trading platform, where I initially bought the pound versus New Zealand dollar at 194.69. It's currently trading in the market at 196.71, and I've got an overall profit of about 73 grand on that position. And then I added to my trade at 196.93. I kind of missed the buy stop earlier. And I'm showing a $3,000 loss on this trade at the moment. So cumulatively up about $70,000 on this trade. But I've got expectations for this thing going a lot higher. And I will dynamically move this take profit. So currently I just sit it as far as I can outside the market. I want to see if the market is confirming my thesis, my underlying analysis, and if it creeps higher and higher toward this take profit and it looks like there's more to be had, I will incrementally keep moving this take profit higher. So that gives you an insight into my methodology and the outcome. So I hope you got a ton of value out of this video. If you would like to understand more about my trading methodology, if you would like to capitalize on monster moves in the market, then I highly suggest you sign up for my weekly video report. The weekly video report is available for any price you want to pay. So it's a no-brainer offer. So I hope to see all of you guys on the next weekly video report. And with that said, I wish you a happy, healthy, and prosperous trading week, and I'll see you next time.